You're becoming a much better YouTuber. More videos like this, please. 20 entire minutes without citing a single HLTV rating. Gotta be a record for the Garmour. Thank you, Sigma Overwatch TT. But I got some horrible news, brother. You're not gonna like this video. Guys, throughout Counter-Strike's history, we've had a lot of very, very good players. Some transcendent ones even, like the Baby Goat in m0NESY, Zaipu, Donk the Diddler, Forsaken, and many, many more. And will all of these goated Counter-Strike players have every single season they have ever played tracked on HLTV.com, Half-Life TV, and they then get something that is called a HLTV rating. And so then I got to thinking, right? Sure, we know all of the goated years in Counter-Strike history. 2018 simple, 2021 simple, pretty much any year of Zaiwu or Donk. You know, m0NESY, Nico, Device. And while all of these years are great, I kind of wanted to come at this video a little bit differently. Today we will be talking about the top 10 individual years in Counter-Strike history based solely on HLTV rating and with a slight twist. Every single player can only appear on this list once. Otherwise, the entire thing would just be Donk, Zaiwu, Simple, some Device, some m0NESY, and I just don't think it would really be that interesting. So what this video is gonna break down is heading into the future, what HLTV rating do you need over a full year to break into this list? What is the threshold to have one of the highest rated years in Counter-Strike history? And then of course, certain players like Donk, Zaiwu, and Simple will only have their highest rated year on this list, while every other single one below that is ignored. Also, this is only with the top 20 filter on, so it's only counting tier 1. Your team's got to be in the top 20, opponent team got to be in the top 20. And with that all out of the way, I think we're ready to get into our number 10 spot. In at the number 10 spot, we have someone that might be a little surprising to some of you, and that is Ethan. Yes, Ethan. Back when NA had any semblance of hope, any semblance of talent, and then like everyone else, they left us to go to Valorant. He left us. I think he's very good in Valorant as well. He's won a lot of tournaments, but he abandoned us, and now we have nothing. No, we have nothing at all. Useless, horrible, garbage region, no joy, no nothing, really. What's even the point of our existence in this game at this point? 2018 was an incredibly exciting year for Ethan and NRG, as Ethan honestly looked like the greatest young prospect in the entire region, and NRG really broke out this year. After signing Ethan early on in the year, they went from the number 23 ranked team all the way up to the number 8 ranked team to end the year, and even peaked at number 6. Ethan proved out to be a phenomenal addition for this roster. He fit into the team perfectly with Daps, Fugly, Breeze, and Cirque Opping. Bro, I mean, I have such good memories of this roster, man. They were so fun for me to watch. And their breakout really was fun. Like, thinking back on it, 2018 was just a fire year overall. So last time I felt joy, watching Cloud9. NRG broke out, so we had multiple pretty good teams. Fuck was Liquid doing this year? Liquid was jerking off with Taco. I forgot about that. A young Twist on the roster. Still a top 5 ranked team in the world pretty consistently. I mean, like, yeah, I guess I'll include Liquid in the cool teams list. Cloud9, NRG, Liquid. We really had it all. We didn't know how good we had it. You don't know how good something is until it's gone. I just want to feel joy. Now, before we get to the number 9 spot, I do want to give one honorable mention. Guardian also had a 1.18 in 2015 when he placed number 2 in the world on the HLTV top 20 list, but HLTV top 20 filter came out in like September this year, so we can't really track the entire year, so I unfortunately couldn't count it, but I had to give a shout out to one of the goats of the game. Hey cutie patootie, it's me, Garmour. Guys, if you would like to support me and what I do here, check out the long-term sponsor of the Garmour YouTube channel, SkinSwap. SkinSwap is the #1 place to trade your Rust or Counter-Strike skins for new ones where you can instantly upgrade your inventory. And if you use my code Garmour, you can get up to $50 on a free skin and a 3% lifetime selling bonus. And now you can also easily buy skins off the Chinese marketplace for cheaper cheaper prices than you ever could on the Western marketplaces. I truly think this is the best feature on any skin trading website, but if you are looking to sell, you can sell your skins for crypto, PayPal, Venmo, and a bunch of other withdrawal methods. Along with this, SkinSwap has a vault system now, which makes it the most rewarding skin trading website. And of course, don't forget the giveaways. And I think that's it. Thank you to them, thank you to you guys, and back to the video. Now anyways, in 9th place, we have the biggest category of this entire video. It is a 6-way tie. All 6 of these players had a 1.19 rating. So if you're listening, the threshold to break into the top 10 best weighted years of all time is a 1.18 weighting, okay? If a player ever has a 1.18 or better, they're good. But, you know, that can also change with other factors. 118 can get bumped down. Enough yapping. Let's get into 119. First player on this list is Oscar in 2016. God bless this man. God bless Oscar. Mouse Sports Oscar. I love him. 2016 was just a phenomenal year in every aspect. Truly the greatest year of all time. If you are feeling down for any reason during this year, whip on some Counter-Strike, turn on some Mouse Sports, watch a little bit of Oscar, and oh look, he's ripping Fnatic a new one. Look at my goat go. But yeah, in this year, Oscar was the number 16 ranked player on the top. I'm lying. Wait, I'm lying. That was 2017. Professional Counter-Strike yapper, by the way. Oscar did not make the HLTV top 20 list in 2016 when he did this, and Ethan didn't make it either when he broke out in 2018, but they both made it the year after. That's so strange. Sorry for the yapping, fellas, but sometimes you just gotta let her rip. I should also mention, Oscar was not fully only on mouse this year. Half the year he was on Hellraisers, where he played 78 maps with the top 20 filter on, posting a 1.24, and 31 on mouse, posting a 1.15. So there's a chance that if he stays on Hellraisers for the entirety of this year, maybe his rating is even higher. Yeah, overall, this was an incredible year for Oscar. And once again, similar to Ethan, really his first breakout year, which is crazy considering he's been playing the game since 2006. It took 10 years for the breakout. Hey, never give up, fellas. Eventually, that clock can hit midnight and then the time is yours. Yeah, that was a bar. Yeah, that was a bar. Next up on this list is another offer from Mouse. Mouse just be cranking these fellas out, and this one is Woxic in 2018. Oscar and Woxic are both incredibly similar. They both came from Hellraisers, both eventually joined Mouse, but the main difference is Woxic wasn't on Mouse at all when he posted this rating, as in 2018 he was only on Hellraisers. But I mean, during this time, Hellraisers was consistently a top 20 team playing other top 20 teams, so he was counted for this list. And man, was Hellraisers a fun team during this time. They had Angel, Bondic, of course, Woxic, Dead Fox, and Issa. The Woxic-Issa combo during this time, I mean, they were like the new up-and-coming Simple and Electronic in a way, theoretically. No, I wouldn't say that really ended up happening, but still 2 very good players during this time. And yeah, once again, 2018 produced another big breakout player. And well, as you know, this year was single-handedly enough for him to get picked up by Mouse, and the rest is history. Cloud9 happened for about 2 days, and then Eternal Fire, and now here we are on Aurora. Next up on this list is the first rifler of number 9, and that's Elige. 2019 Elige, prime liquid Elige, baby. He's also the first player we've talked about so far who made the HLTV top 20 with one of these years, which is crazy, honestly, as he was the number 4 player in the world in 2019. But this was also, of course, because Liquid is just on a tear during this time, won their Intel Grand Slam, and unfortunately, got Vertigo picked against them, and that's what I mainly remember this Liquid team for. But yeah, man, it's good to see Elige on this list. A lot of players are consistently insane and will put up great numbers for a long time, but I was worried that maybe he wouldn't have a peak that would, you know, put him on this list, but he got that 119 up in 2019, so we're not stressed about it. Next up is 2019 once again, and that is actually James. While IGLing, by the way. This was a Vanguard and James' main breakout year where they made the finals of the Berlin Major, and honestly, I had no fucking clue that James was farming like this year. I guess I just forgot. But yeah, James is on the list for the highest ratings over the course of a year. year in Counter-Strike history. I didn't even think a Vanguard was high enough ranked for him to do this, but he had 150 maps with the top 20 filter, which is more than electronic, more than device, more than simple during this year, and only 3 less than Rops. So I mean, it's a valid rating. Incredibly impressive stuff from Jame, and that's why he's one of the GOATs. That's why he gets so much glaze. Next up on this list is 2023 Frozen. Oh, poor Frozen, man. Faye's gotta lock in and get that chip at some point, because he's gonna end up being on the list with Guardian as one of the greatest players who haven't ever won a major. You know, now Nico and Monacy are off that list, so he just got bumped up a little bit. It's probably Guardian, Elige, and then Frozen, most likely. But yeah, in 2023, Frozen was an animal on mouse. So much so that he eventually got picked up by FaZe towards the end of the year as the replacement for Twist. And I would say it was a pretty damn good decision by them. Frozen is still one of the best riflers in the entire world, consistently being on the HLTV top 20 list for 4 years in a row now, being number 17 in 2022, number 12 in 2023, the year that we're talking about now, number 10 in 2024, and number 8 in 2025. He's just inching up closer and closer and closer, which honestly, with him placing higher in 2024 and 2025, it's surprising that this is his highest rated year, but it is. In 2024 he had a 1.12, and in 2025 a 1.16. So, you know, it goes to show maybe there's a little bit more to Counter-Strike than HLTV rating. Some have been saying this. And lastly on this list, in the number 9 spot, is csgo from this past year in 2025. Similar to Frozen, he's been consistently a phenomenal rifler for years now, being in the HLTV top 20 list every year from 2020 to 2025 minus 2024. And I'm happy to see that he had that 1 year where he broke through the ceiling and was able to place on this top 10 list. And while it does make sense that it's also the year where Furia really kind of broke out, as soon as they added Yakinder and Molodoy and Fallen switched to a rifling IGL, it seemed like everyone in this roster was unlocked, and so it really does make sense that this would be the year that gets csgo onto this list. In at number 8, we have 2 players who are tied, both posting a 1.2 rating in their respective years, and that is 2017 Fur in 2019 Electronic. I don't think anyone is really surprised to see Fur on here. He was the number 3 player on the HLTV top 20 list in 2017. And well, SK Gaming were just consistently like the best team in the world most of the time. So it does make sense. They won a quad billion tournaments. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, as a hardcore fan of Cloud9 during this time, I don't know if you ever knew that I was a fan of Cloud9. Yo, I gotta replace that Browns OBJ jersey with a C9 jersey as well. It's in the works, okay? But yeah, having to play against SK during this time, there was just like this fear factor around Fur. I hated playing this fucking dude because I just feel like he was gonna run out and maul my entire team. My team. I'm not on the roster, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was more afraid of playing Fur in 2017 than I was playing Electronic in 2019. But by this point, my team was pretty fucking chopped anyways, so it didn't really matter. And that's not to say Electronic is worse by any means. He was consistently better than Fur, actually. But I don't know, man. There's just something about Fur. I was horrified of that man. But yeah, anyways, W transitioned into 2019 Electronic. This dude was still a fucking freak, okay? I wouldn't say he was really that much worse than Fur. I mean, they posted the same goddamn rating. And Navi in 2019 were phenomenal, right? The only problem is that Astralis also existed, and so they couldn't really ever take that top spot, but they were also a little inconsistent during this time. You know, they got knocked out of IEM Katowice to ENCE and got knocked out of the Berlin Major to NRG, so it's not like it was only Astralis who could fry them. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is just prime simple Electronic duo era, so it does make sense that this Electronic year would be on this list. Next up, we're inching up just a little bit. It's not going to stay like this for the entire video, but we barely go up to a 1.21 rating where we have a 3-way tie. To start us off, we have coldzera, who placed just above Fur. His best year was 0.01 higher than Fur's. And I mean, all the same things that I said for Fur really can be said for coldzera. It was 2019 Prime SK. I mean, what? These fuckers were farming everyone, bro. Of course, ratings are going to follow. This was also the 2nd year in a row that coldzera was the #1 player in the world. And while these boys didn't win any majors this year, they were still the best team in the world, absolutely dominant during this time. So, yeah, this makes sense. But one that you might not expect is blameF. The GOAT! The double triple, what the fuck am I saying? blameF, he looks like he got a BBL on his biceps. A fucking tank of a man. I love him. And I guess if you think about this a little bit more, he he was kind of outed for being a rating farmer. And while I think a little bit of it was overblown, he certainly rating farmed in 2022. Let me tell you what. The back-to-back #1 player in the world, coldzera's best year is tied with blamef. And I get that there have been HLTV rating changes over the years, but even still. But yeah, this was the year after blamef moved from Complexity to Astralis. And while also during this year, Astralis kind of fucking stunk. 17th to 19th place at PGL Major Antwerp, but at least they made it there. Can't say the same thing about Rio, and they were kind of stinking it up in B tier tournaments towards the end of the year. Didn't do anything at S tier tournaments for pretty much the entire year. I guess they did get a semifinals exit at Cologne, but that's honestly really about it. blamef was farming on a completely kind of cooked team, which is, you know, a part of the reason why a lot of these rating farmer bait F accusations come from. And there is some truth to them for sure. Like I said, I do think they're a little overblown, but if Astralis were this stinky doo-doo, and he was posting up these good of ratings to be on, you know, a top 10 greatest individual years in Counter-Strike history list, you know, he must have been playing with just pure chuds. And I mean, while the roster wasn't insane, it was, you know, past due date Zipnix, past due date Glaive, Config, and Farlig. You know, it's not like, I don't know, these guys are horrible. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just a weird time. I'm just gonna be a little fence sitter and say that blamef probably farmed a little bit of rating while also being a damn good rifler. I think both can be true. And last person in 7th is Axile from 2022. Same year as blamef, and the best individual year in Axile's history is he placed number 4 on the HLTV top 20 list. And as you know from the rules of this video, this is the highest rated year in his history. Now, this was kind of a strange year because half of the year he's on Gambit, then they got bought out by Cloud9. I guess that isn't that weird. I don't know what I'm saying. Team just got bought out by a different org. But yeah, while this wasn't Axile's breakout year, that was, of course, 2021. And I'm pretty much all of Gambit's breakout year. They were still incredibly good in 2022. But the saddest part about this is, well, this was kind of the last year that they were really good, as Cloud9 had cursed them after they signed them. It makes sense. And so Axile was never really the same after 2022, but it is still definitely impressive to have played good enough to end up on this list. You know, having a 1.21 rating over the course of a full year is a phenomenal achievement. He'll be remembered for all of Counter-Strike's history. Finally, in its 6th place, we have the last tie of this entire video. After this, we got individual years, so strap your seatbelts. Strap on. Fuck. What's going on in my brain? What am I thinking about strap-ons for, bro? Holy self-report. In at number 6, first up, we have Nico. Nico's best individual year rating-wise was 2017, where he posted a 1.23. This is the 1.23 category. Look at that, guys. We've officially moved from going 0.01 up to 0.02 up. Let's go. Yeah, Nico in 2017, he was freak bob. He was freak bobbed out of his freaking mind this year, bro. Played on mouse for a little bit, then eventually joined FaZe. He joined FaZe very early in the year, February, in fact. And then he started frying motherfuckers like it was nothing. He placed number 2 on the HLTV top 20 list and instantly became one of the greatest riflers in the entire game. Pretty much at this time, second to only coldzera. But yeah, for a majority of this year, FaZe was a very strange team. They had Kerrigan, Alu, Nico, Kiyoshima, and Rain. And this iteration wasn't great, so they did eventually go out and make their super team, sending Olaf Meister and Guardian. But for a good chunk of this year, it really was just kind of Nico and Rain on FaZe farming motherfuckers. And so the fact that this is his highest rated year in history is honestly kind of crazy to me. A little bit on mouse, a little bit playing with Kiyoshima and Alu. And then in the second half of the year, they finally got their super team. And I mean, yeah, shortly after this, these guys just looked demonic. They went into Boston as the favorites right when 2018 started. Just a freakish year from Nico. And well, to follow up one GOAT, we have another GOAT. That is 2018 Device. And while some of you might be surprised, you might have thought Device would be a little higher than this. Device was one of those players where he was just consistently GOATed. He didn't really have this ceiling of a lot of other players that are higher on this list. He was just consistently that guy. And I mean, you know, a 1, 2, 3 over the course of a year is still pretty damn impressive. And well, it does make sense that this would be the year because this is really when Astralis broke out and started their era. Shortly after Boston, they just kind of started winning literally everything. You go to 2018 and it's just first place after first place for these guys. And like they did still win 2 majors in 2019. Like they were still insane in 2019, but they didn't perform as well at every tournament. So it does make sense 2018 would be Device's year. And then the last player in this list is actually 2018 Zantares. You may have not thought Zantares was necessarily that guy, but he is absolutely that guy. Zantares has been a freak on the rifle for years now and has consistently put up insane ratings. He didn't place in the 80 top 20 this year, sadly.
Device was the second best player in 2018, by the way. Forgot about that.
Like, I guess I get it. He was on Space Soldiers during this time. And, you know, Prime Astralis, Space Soldiers, I guess I get it, you know, why Zantares might not be getting as much glaze. But, like, in 2019, Space Soldiers was fairly consistently a top 20 team. They did kind of peter off towards the end of the year, but he had 137 maps with the top 20 filter, which is more than Ethan, so I'm gonna count him. But yeah, I don't know if I would say this is necessarily Zantares' breakout year because he had been farming for quite a few years at this point. But I guess this had been the highest ranked Space Soldiers ever were, and he was showing that he could also translate it against tier 1 teams. So I guess we can say 2018 Zantares really is his GOAT year, the year where he really proved that he was that guy. And it honestly is cool to see him on this list with names like Device and Nico. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Now finally, we get into the top 5. In at 5th place, with a 1.26 rating in 2022, we have Shiro. Same year as Exile, he just had 0.05 rating higher, and also placed higher on the HLTV top 20 list, although barely, being in 3rd. But Shiro's been consistently that guy for many years now. Number 4 in the world in 2021, like I just said, number 3 in 2022, then followed it up by number 8 in the world, number 6 in the world, and number 5 in the world. And he is also now a major winner. Was he boosted by Magix and Donk? Yes, he was, but he closed out the game, so they didn't go to OT. So I mean, if they go to OT, FaZe might win that series, so you can't completely discredit him. But yeah, man, Shiro gets a lot of slack because he's a very passive opper. He's not as flashy as, you know, a simple Amonasy, but that doesn't mean he's bad. He's got the 5th best year rating-wise in Counter-Strike history, so I feel like we gotta show him some respect. Historically, okay? In real life, he has had a couple shortcomings recently, I would say. Very good showing at Cologne for the most part. When you look at the overall picture, he has had a couple issues with big games, playoff games. But overall, Shiro is fucking insane. And while you might not think of him as being better than, you know, Cold Zera, Nico, Device, he had a high weighting, so what do you want me to do? In at 4th place is the baby goat, 2024 m0NESY, with a 1.3 rating. The first rating to break the 1.3 threshold. If you can post a 1.3 rating over the course of an entire year, you're fucking insane, man. Truly one of the Counter-Strike greats. Only a very small amount of people in Counter-Strike history are good enough to do this. And well, it makes sense that one of them would be m0NESY. You remember a m0NESY flick. You remember a m0NESY clutch. You know, like, this is m0NESY. I feel like not a lot needs to be said, but I will glaze him because this was in 2024, shortly after CS2 came out. And while CS2 nuked like every single AWPer that existed on the earth, m0NESY somehow got better. It seemed like the AWP had been nerfed. Here was the baby goat, still cooking everyone. Now, I will say this is a little bit bittersweet because this was his last full year on G2 before leaving to go to Falcons. It looked like maybe this was his last chance to win a major with Nico, which thankfully it wasn't. You know, still wish it would have been on G2, but I'm happy their story didn't end that sad. But like, they got semi-final exits at Copenhagen and Shanghai, where I'm pretty sure they were favored to win in both of those games. But there were still some other incredibly high moments this year, like the Stewie 2K run at Dallas, where m0NESY played out of his fucking mind. They farmed some Blast Premier Fall events with snacks, and were just consistently a great team all year. Then next up on this list, in 3rd place, we have s1mple. And the craziest part about s1mple is, well, 3rd place is a tie, but s1mple did it with himself. In 2018, he had a 1.34 against top 20 teams, and he did the same thing again in 2021. It is an absurd achievement for a player to get a 1.3 rating at all in their career. And well, Simple got a 1.34 twice. I just double checked to make sure as well. These are the only years in Simple's career where he got a 1.3 or higher. In 2019, he had a 1.29. He was close. But yeah, getting a 1.3 over the course of a year is fucking hard, man. Before ZywOo and Donk, and before CS2, I guess you can kind of make an argument that maybe ZywOo was the GOAT before CS2 came out. But personally, Simple was the fucking GOAT, okay, before CS2. This guy was demonic, man. Just go back and watch Simple highlights. This guy was unreal, okay? It's not just a rating, right? It's not just a 1.34. You watch this guy play and you're like, oh my god, like the clips in the rating, they match. It makes sense. But yeah, if you look at these stats in 2018, it is just absurd. Simple had a 1.34 and the next closest player was Device with a 1.23. Tied, of course, with Zantares. Like, there was almost a full 0.1 gap between Simple and the next closest guy. He was absolutely dominant. One of the greatest hard carry jobs I have ever seen. Because we gotta remember, Na'Vi in 2018 wasn't like this insane roster. They had some old guard Na'Vi players in Zeus and Edward. And then they also had Flamey, who could sometimes pop off. But every single time you watch Na'Vi play, it was pretty much Simple and Electronic 2v8ing. And my god, let me tell you what, it was kind of beautiful to watch. Sure, it was also a little frustrating at points, but what this dude did in 2018 was insane. And then, you know, you also go to 2021 where he won the Stockholm Major. He had a much better supporting cast around him. And because of that, Na'Vi was also easily the best team in the world during this time, unlike 2018. So maybe it was a little bit easier to post a higher rating. You know, you can argue about that all day. What's better, 2018 versus 2021? They're both incredible. And they have allowed Simple to take the number 3 spot on this list. But as you would probably expect, the number 2 spot goes to ZywOo, who has overtaken Simple after the release of CS2 in a lot of different categories, to be honest. But of course, also here with a higher individual rating over the course of a year, as he posted a 1.36 in 2024. This was the first year in ZywOo's career where he broke the 1.3 rating threshold, and similar to m0NESY, he was one of the very, very few oppers who looked like they got better with the release of CS2. Sure, he does also rifle a lot, but it's not like he never opped. He was still consistently opping. But yeah, while 2024 wasn't a dominant year for Vitality like 2025 was, individually at least it seems ZywOo was better in 2024. And this was with them only winning one tournament the entire year. IEM Cologne against Na'Vi. But I mean, they were finishing consistently top 4 at pretty much every single tournament they attended this year. And well, a huge part of that was pretty much ZywOo just hard carrying them a lot of the times. You know, Flames was good this year, but it was before a really big Flames breakout. They had Spinks, who was very good, but he kind of fell off in playoffs. They still had Mezzy and Apex, but it wasn't like peak Mezzy and Apex like we are used to. Vitality in 2024 was very, very good. But realistically, it was due in part to one man, and that was ZywOo. The next closest player on the entire team was Spinks with a 1.10. So ZywOo had a 0.26 higher than the next highest player on his team. He also was pretty much the only consistent factor within the team. Everyone else was very, very wishy-washy. So yeah, ZywOo in 2024, absolutely unbelievable hard carry job. But with a better supporting cast around him in 2026, it does look like he could possibly break his own record. As at the moment I am recording this, he has a 1.38. So we'll have to wait and see. If he keeps up current form, he's breaking this record. But even if he did keep up this pace, it wouldn't be enough to dethrone the guy in first. And as you probably expected, that is Donk. Donk is simply transcendent. There's no other way to put it. And after being the number 1 player in the world in 2024, he went on to one-up himself, rating-wise at least, in 2025. Going all the way up to a 1.39 rating. The highest rating in a single year in Counter-Strike history belongs to Donk at a 1.39. And I really don't know if this is ever going to be topped by anyone else who isn't named Donk. I mean, I'm sure we'll have some prodigy at some point in the future, but like rating inflation is crazy. Because back in the day, GOATs were posting like 1.18, 1.19 ratings, and that was like the pinnacle. And I mean, now here we are. A little Russian fetus comes out of nowhere, sets the world on fire, and breaks pretty much every single record, one of which is the highest rating over the course of a year in Counter-Strike history. Dude, the craziest part is, too, In 2026, he has a 1.39 so far as well. If he steps up his game a little bit, he could break the 1.4 rating threshold. And that is with Spirit looking shaky as fuck for the first, I don't know, 4 months of the year. If they continue to look as good as they have been recently and carry that on through the second half of the year, he really could break the 1.4 rating threshold and be the first person in Counter-Strike history to do so. But yeah, a lot of yapping about ratings. Was that entertaining for you guys? I don't know. Let me know if it was, because if it was, I'll drop a worst ratings in Counter-Strike history, the top 10 lowest rated years. But I'm only doing that if you guys like this one, and the only way for me to know if you did is the liking button. There's also the subscribing button, the notificationing button, and I think that's it, fellas. I hope you guys all have a good one, and I will see you next time.